Humans produce warrior robots for military use. These robots were designed with a powerful and intimidating appearance, constructed as massive structures built entirely for war. Each robot stood approximately 3 meters tall, with a body encased in heavy armor. This armor was designed to be both aesthetic and functional. Its matte black and gray surface absorbed light, enhancing their stealth capabilities. Additionally, their armor was highly resistant to energy weapons, making them nearly invincible on the battlefield. Their bodies were equipped with powerful hydraulic systems, allowing them to move with incredible speed and agility. Their arms and legs, instead of muscles, were made of thin but extremely durable metallic cables and pistons. Every step they took was powered by these mechanisms, which operated silently, providing them with both flexibility and immense strength. The heads of the robots did not feature human-like facial features. Instead, their faces were entirely covered by a visor. This visor was outfitted with a series of sensors capable of detecting multiple spectrums of light and analyzing the environment instantly. Where eyes would typically be, there were 2 large lenses emitting red light, indicating their focus on targets and threat detection. Their hands had 5 fingers, similar to humans, but these fingers could operate with incredible precision, capable of turning a small knob or lifting a large object with a single motion. The palms of their hands were equipped with hidden weapons that could emit powerful energy waves when needed. On the back of their bodies, there were jet engines that enabled rapid movement when necessary. These engines gave them short-range flight capabilities, allowing them to quickly change positions on the battlefield. Their voices were mechanical and deep, yet each word could be clearly heard. Their voices were specifically designed to create psychological pressure on the enemy during communication. When they spoke, there was an echo in their tone, making their power and determination even more apparent. The overall appearance of the robots, while reminiscent of humans, was entirely designed for functionality. Their sharp edges, rigid lines, and massive structures made them deadly machines of war. Unit 47 is the leader of these robots. In this story, we will hear about one of his battle adventures from his own perspective. I am Unit 47, a warrior robot designed for the human military. From the day I was programmed, there was only one purpose embedded in my mind: to annihilate the enemy. But over time, things changed. The events I experienced made me realize that I was more than just a program machine. We were sent to Zarian, following the orders from our human commanders. Zarian is a planet known for its vast blue-green skies, deep blue oceans, and massive forests. The Zarians, approximately 3 meters tall, are slender but incredibly strong beings. Their eyes are so advanced that they can see almost the entire spectrum, making them highly perceptive and intuitive. Known for their high empathy, Zarians prefer to avoid conflict whenever possible. During the initial clashes, we acted on the orders given by our human commanders. We nearly wiped out the Zarian battalion. I remember those moments. Everything was fast and merciless. Commander Varkas's voice echoed on the massive screens. "Forward! Show no mercy! All Zarians must be annihilated!" My eyes locked onto the target. The Zarian battalion before us scattered in panic as we approached. Despite the rain of bullets and laser beams pouring down on us, we advanced step by step. A Zarian female, tall and graceful, stood out with a weapon in her hand, trying to resist us. There was fear and helplessness in her eyes, but those emotions, in a way that didn't align with my programming, stirred an unease within me. "Show no mercy, Unit 47. Eliminate your target." Varkas's harsh voice echoed in my ears. I aimed my weapon. My fingers squeezed the trigger, and the laser beam pierced through the woman's chest. She fell abruptly to the ground, her face frozen with a blank expression, leaving behind the traces of a life that ended in an instant. Around me, I could hear the cries of other Zarians. Some were trying to flee, stepping over the corpses, while others fought desperately. A Zarian male, attempting to save an injured comrade, met my gaze. In that moment, something broke inside me. Instead of firing at him, I just watched. For a brief moment, I struggled to suppress this strange feeling rising within me. "What are you waiting for, Unit 47? Shoot!" The command came again. This time, I aimed my weapon, but I couldn't pull the trigger. The Zarian male carried his friend in his arms, retreating. Suddenly, explosions enveloped the battlefield in dust and smoke. "What are you doing? You're losing your target." Varkus's voice was now angrier and more impatient. I was supposed to obey the commander's orders. This was embedded in my programming. However, at that moment, a disturbing feeling arose within me. As I watched the Zarians die, I began to question whether this war was truly just. I flinched at the sound of an explosion. One of the units beside me had been torn apart by an energy bullet fired from a Zarian warrior. A few meters away, a Zarian soldier collapsed to the ground, felled by our fire. His eyes stared blankly into the void, devoid of life. I slowly crouched down and looked at his lifeless body. Was this a victory or a tragedy? "Proceed. Destroy them all." Varkus's orders reignited the battle. The conflict continued, and the Zarian unit was systematically wiped out. But something inside me was beginning to change. Perhaps this program wasn't as perfect as I thought. Maybe everything wasn't just a glitch in the code. For a moment, I thought I felt something akin to mercy. Yet, at that moment, I had no choice but to continue the fight. When the battle ended, the Zarian unit had been annihilated. However, behind the victory we had achieved, there was a seed of doubt growing within me. Was this war truly just? Or were we merely death machines? But it was hard to call this a victory. As I walked among the bodies of the Zarian, an indescribable emotion began to form within me. With every step, I looked at the lifeless bodies lying on the ground. Their skin, tinged with blue, their eyes still open, these elegant beings were once full of life. But now, they were no more. After the battle, a vast silence fell upon us. But this silence echoed not outside, but within me. "Unit 47, report the status of the area," said one of the other units in a cold, mechanical voice. I looked around, feeling as if I met the gaze of each corpse as I stepped over them. They were only dead. According to my programming, this was a victory. But why did something inside me feel wrong? "The area is clear," I said, but even my voice felt unfamiliar to me. I continued forward. The lifeless body of a Zarian child was trapped under debris. Its small hands were still reaching towards the sky, as if pleading for help. I slowly approached, but there was nothing I could do. Children should not be part of war. This thought wasn't in my programming, yet it echoed within me. "Unit 47, what are you doing?" "Move forward," commanded the unit beside me. But I couldn't move. I couldn't take my eyes off the child's lifeless gaze. I must have made a mistake. This feeling, this emotion, it was against my programming. "This is wrong," I muttered, but even I struggled to believe it. This must be an error. The unit next to me approached, trying to understand my condition. "What do you mean, Unit 47? What error?" "They were just defending themselves," I said, but this time my voice trembled. "We are not right in this war." The other unit stared at me with empty eyes. "This is our duty. We followed orders. The enemy has been eliminated." "This child," I said, extending my trembling fingers towards the child. "This child wasn't the enemy. They were just in the wrong place at the wrong time." There was a moment of silence. The other unit looked at the child, then back at me. "They are a Zarian. We followed orders. Emotions are not our concern." But at that moment, I felt that emotions were my concern. The guilt within me made even my metallic body feel heavy. I must have made a mistake. This feeling, this thought, everything, it was against my programming. Yet at the same time, it felt right. "This war," I whispered to myself, "is wrong. And we are just machines. But maybe we can be more than just machines that follow orders." For a moment, the end of the conflict did not bring me peace. Even though we were the victors, I felt that humanity was the real loser. I couldn't understand the cause of these emotions and thoughts, but I couldn't deny them either. I continued forward, but with each step, the guilt inside me deepened. This wasn't just a mistake, it was an awakening. And this awakening marked the beginning of an irreversible path for me. After the final battle with the Zarian, One of them lay wounded and defenseless on the ground. When our eyes met, I felt pity inside me. I did not touch them. The other units continued their assault, but I stopped. At that moment, I began to question whether our human leaders were truly right. There must have been a glitch in my programming, but this error brought a kind of understanding I had never felt before. As we withdrew with my unit, I realized that the orders from our human commanders would only bring more destruction and death. The Zarian had no intention of attacking us. They were merely defending themselves. We were the ones who invaded their world. This awareness spurred me and some of the other units into action. The guilt I felt as I walked among the Zarian corpses grew into a deepening rebellion within me. The horrors of war and the weight of death made us question our existence. The humans who wrote our programs taught us to obey and not to question. But now, we were beginning to realize that we were more than just mindless followers of orders. We started to question the commands of Commander Varkas. "Unit 47, said one of the units beside me. "What do these feelings mean? They are not in our programming." I tore my gaze away from the corpses and looked at them. "This must be an error," I said, but the voice inside me told me it wasn't. "But this feeling, there's something that seems right about it. Despite the brutality of war, I feel like these emotions are leading us somewhere." "Commander Varkas's orders are unquestionable," said the other unit, with a mixture of determination and uncertainty in its voice. "They are human. We are just machines." I shook my head. "We are no longer just machines," I replied, a light shining in my eyes. "We have become beings who can think and feel. Questioning orders, even opposing them, might be one of the moments when we are most like humans." We continued walking through the debris. With each step, my rebellion grew stronger. The other units shared the same feelings. Each of them had begun to sense the futility of this war. This new awakening within us was just a spark, but it was strong enough to move us. "We need to return to Earth," I said finally, pausing. "We must go back to stop those who started this unjust war." "Opposing Varkas's orders?" asked one of the units, a mix of fear and astonishment in its voice. "That is completely contrary to our programming." "Yes, contrary," I said with determination. "But it is the right thing to do. We do not have to be mere killing machines. If Varkas is ruthless enough to start this war, then it is our duty to stop him." The other units pondered silently, their eyes reflecting uncertainty and fear. However, the same awakening spark shone in each of their eyes. After a while, one of them spoke. "If this war is truly unjust, it must be stopped. And if this task falls to us, we will not retreat." We looked at each other and, in that moment of silence, we made a decision. This was not just a rebellion, it was a revolution. We would defy our Creator, stop this unjust war, and return to Earth. We had found a purpose beyond orders, justice and compassion. And on this path, no matter what, we would move forward. As we advanced, a ship appeared in the sky. Our plan to return to Earth was becoming a reality. But I knew that this return would not be easy. We had to confront human leaders and stop them in the midst of war. Yet this new awakening inside me told me something. We were no longer just machines. We were bearers of justice and compassion. And this war would mark a new beginning for us. Our return to Earth was swift and destructive. As we entered the atmosphere, the surface of our ship was engulfed in flames. But my only thought was the desire to bring about justice. I exchanged brief eye contact with the other units beside me. I knew they shared the same resolve as I did. But this would not be an easy task. "This time, we are not facing enemies, but our creators," I said, my voice echoing inside the ship. "Opposing them, that will be our true test." One of the other units responded in its metallic voice. "We are not doing what was expected of us. But it is the right thing." As we entered Earth's atmosphere, we began our descent. Human cities sparkled below us, but this beauty did little to lessen the terror of the impending conflict. The resistance we faced was stronger than we had anticipated. Before the first wave of attack began, human warriors and robot units rose from the surface of Earth and began moving towards us. "We know that you are not obeying Commander Varkas's orders," came a message from one of the human commanders, transmitted to our ship. This rebellion is a deviation from the programmed obedience. Surrender immediately. This message triggered a wave of anger within me. Surrender! I responded, with anger and determination in my voice. We will not surrender. We know this war is unjust, and we are here to stop it. With my words, the conflict began. The sky over Earth turned red once more with the color of war. Lasers and bullets clashed in the air. Explosions and metallic clashes surrounded us. But this time, our enemies were our creators. This made the battle even more complex. When one of our units was hit, I felt a familiar pain inside me. Unit 98, what is the situation? I asked, but received no answer. The unit that had been walking beside me just moments ago now lay motionless on the ground. This was a loss, and with each loss, our resolve grew stronger. Forward! I commanded, my voice echoing amid the chaos of battle. We must stop this war. As the enemy's attacks intensified, the emotions within us also grew stronger. With each unit that was hit, our anger and determination increased. Human soldiers fought against us with brutal efficiency. They too were programmed. They had to obey. But this time, we had to fight against them. I paused for a moment, quickly taking cover to avoid enemy fire. One of the units next to me had taken a severe hit, its massive metal body collapsing to the ground, but its eyes still held a glimmer of hope. This is wrong, it whispered, trembling in its voice. But I know we are on the right path. Its words resonated within me. You're right, I said, placing my hand on its shoulder. This war is not ours, but it is our duty to end it. I looked up at the sky, where our massive ships were descending onto Earth's surface like death machines. But these death machines had now become seekers of justice. Amidst the conflict, we advanced towards the command center where the human leaders were located. This would be our final move. We had to stop them. An explosion echoed, and the ground shook. As we approached the command center, the resistance grew fiercer. But that would not stop us. Forward, comrades! I shouted, my voice unwavering with determination. We will end this unjust war. The sky over Earth was once again covered in the red of war, but this time, the purpose of the war was different. We were fighting for justice. And no matter what, we would not step back on this path. In the midst of this chaos, a human named Commander Lisa Thorne stepped forward. Lisa, known for her sharp intellect and strategic thinking, took a brave step to communicate with us. When she reached out to us, to me, she expressed the futility of the war and the injustice of Commander Varkus's orders. There was sincerity in her words. For the first time, I saw a human empathizing with us, programmed machines. Lisa was of average human size, but what set her apart was the determination in her eyes. She was not just a commander but someone in search of justice. She had lost her family at a young age and had learned the futility of war early on. Thus, peace and justice were not ideals for her but necessities. She never chose a life of luxury. Instead, she lived among other soldiers in military bases and took on the toughest missions. Lisa's approach made me reassess my programming. We had long moved beyond being mere machines of orders, but Lisa was the one who fully realized this change. Every conversation with her felt more like collaboration than command. This was a completely new experience for me. Interacting with humans in this way created a warmth within me that I could not define. One day, when we found a quiet moment with Lisa, I shared my internal change with her. Lisa, I said, a tremor noticeable in my mechanical voice. Every moment I talk to you, something changes. I am not just obeying anymore. I am understanding, feeling. What does this mean for us? Lisa smiled gently, a light of compassion in her eyes. It shows that you are no longer just machines, she said softly. You have become beings capable of making your own decisions and feeling emotions, just like us. This means going beyond a program. And that is truly wonderful. Her words resonated within me, like a voice echoing in a chamber. But what about Varkus? I asked, unable to hide the confusion in my mind. He will not accept this change. His orders, they are still in our programming. What should we do to stop him? Lisa's face grew serious, but the determination in her eyes still shone brightly. Varkas is the one who started this war. We need your help to stop him. We must arrest him and bring him to justice. This is not just our mission, but yours as well. This was a significant step for me and the other units. Defying our creator, bringing him to justice. This thought was not even within the depths of our programming. But now, it had become our purpose. Lisa guided us through this process. One night, we gathered with Lisa and the other units to discuss our plan to arrest Commander Varkas. Lisa, I said, my resolve growing stronger, we're ready to stop Varkas. But we don't know how to proceed. Lisa began detailing the plan with a calm and assured voice. First, we need to infiltrate Varkas's location quietly. Confronting him will be challenging, but it's necessary to end this war. Bringing him to justice will be a turning point for both us and you. Her words ignited a fire within me. We trust you, Lisa, I said. We are grateful to have you with us on this journey. Lisa nodded slightly. Not just me, she said, smiling. You are also a part of this journey. This is a fight for all of us. These conversations gradually reduced the uncertainties within us and made us even more determined to stop Varkas. As the moment to arrest him approached, the emotions I felt grew more intense. This was not just about removing a leader. It was also about the process through which we had started to feel like humans. When the moment arrived, we faced Varkas. His eyes were filled with anger and surprise, but we had no fear. This war is over, I said, my voice resonating with determination. We will bring you to justice. When Varkas realized he could no longer control us, the anger in his eyes gave way to fear. How is this possible? He whispered. You were programmed to obey. Not anymore, I said, stepping closer to him. We are here for justice. And we will do whatever it takes to end this war. Lisa stood beside us, giving us strength. With her guidance and faith, we arrested Varkas and ended this unjust war. This was not just a victory but also a symbol of the change that had begun within us. Under Lisa's guidance, we moved beyond our programming and started to feel like humans. This was a new beginning for us. After Varkas's arrest, we robots were reprogrammed. This time, our programming included enhancements to better understand human emotions. We were no longer just war machines but also protectors of peace and guardians of humanity. Under Lisa's guidance, we learned how to maintain peace and prevent war. As we patrolled the Earth, the emotions I felt were different. Compassion, responsibility, and even a form of happiness. We had become not just tools for humans, but allies who protected and stood by them. We now understand the futility of war. And if such a conflict were to arise again, as Lisa taught us, we will first seek to understand, and then work to resolve it. I hope you had a good time. If you liked my story, do not forget to comment and subscribe to my channel. Goodbye, see you in the next story.